Hello, and welcome to Prompt Writing Made Easy. I'm Bryn Tillman. I am thrilled to be here. We are going to talk about how to write really good prompts that can help us with our business development efforts. This is brought to you by our new book, Prompt Writing Made Easy, that hit #1 bestseller in social media for business yesterday. Woohoo! So really excited. And this is based on the Crispy framework, which is what I'm going to walk you through today. I'm thrilled to be live here with you guys, and we already have lots of people on. Feel free to drop in comments if you have questions. I'm really happy to answer some of those live. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will get started. So welcome again to Prompt Writing Made Easy webinar, using the Crispy framework to leverage AI authentically. And by the way, I'm Bryn Tillman. If we don't know each other, pleasure to meet you. If we do, great to see you again. Great to have you here. So let's jump in. And this is a very basic slide talking about what is an LLM, which is the large language model. And this is your basic ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Copilot. We use Ask SSL. That's our tool. So you'll see me working in that. But the prompts that we're going to use today are pretty much LLM agnostic, meaning you could use them in any tool. You may, however, get slightly different results. So it might be fun to play around and see which one works best for you. But either way, whatever LLM you choose to use, these will work. So why use a prompt design framework? And that's what Crispy is. And there are tons and tons of design frameworks out there for prompts. But whether you're using ours or another one, having a framework really helps to create clarity so that your LLM, your AI tool, knows exactly what you want to achieve. Consistency. So the more you are consistent with your ask, the more consistent your output will be. It makes it easier to optimize our content, and we will ultimately get more engagement when we've got this consistency, when we have a framework. So our framework, as I mentioned, is called the Crispy framework. This stands for context, role, inspiration, scope, prohibitions, and you. And I'm going to walk through each of these, and then we're going to break down 5 prompts today. Now, what I'll tell you is when we get to these prompts, I'm going to give you a quick little tip. If you are on your mobile watching this, you can take a screenshot. If you are, wherever you are, you can take a picture of the slide. You can take a screenshot of the slide, and then you can upload that to whatever LLM you're using as an image and say, text, please. You don't have to say please, but I like to say please just in case when AI takes over, they know that I was very polite to them. Okay, that was a little bit of a joke, but I still say please, don't know why. So I do say text please. So you upload the image and you type in text please, and it will give you all of the text that's on that slide. Once you do that, you've got the prompt. You can copy that prompt, or you can just say run prompt. And right from there, you can start the prompt that's on the slide. So you don't have to rewrite anything, and you don't even have to take notes. Just take the picture. The other thing you could do is get a copy of the book and get all of the prompts, plus, I don't even know, I should know how many are there, hundreds more maybe, in the book. So let's get started. Context. This is ultimately, what are we looking to achieve, right? I would like a blog post, a newsletter, a video script, an email. Context is ultimately, what are we looking to get from this prompt? The next thing is role. Now, when we define role, this is the role we want AI to play. And we think that this is really, really important, because when we can define what we want AI to do or who we want AI to be, ultimately we will get a much better response. Now, this could be an award-winning copywriter, or it could be Brene Brown or Mel Robbins. It could be a famous person. But here's the thing. I notice when I do Brene Brown, every other word is courage and empathy, right? Which is great. And that's one of the reasons I love Brene Brown, but that's not my voice. So the bonus here is, you are Brene Brown, and I hired you to ghostwrite my content. And you'll see when we get to the you, we're going to make Brene Brown our interviewer. So keep that in mind. When we want this to be a specific person, it might be because of the qualities that they bring to the table or the knowledge. Whenever I'm looking for a marketer, I'll say you are Neil Patel, because he's a genius marketer. Or you are, if I'm doing a landing page, you are a HubSpot landing page expert, right? So I want you to really think about who is the ideal person, but I don't want it to be them. I want them to be your mentor. I want them to guide you in this process. So keep that in mind. That's really important. Next, get inspiration, right? And or give inspiration. And this inspiration is really all the things that you want to do and say, and you want the people to feel, and the theme and the idea. And I want this to be educational and insightful without being pitchy, like everything you want it to be, all of the feel goods and the takeaways. This is like the typically when I'm writing a prompt that I use, this is where I'll rant, right? I'll put all that stuff under inspiration. And what's great about this is it doesn't have to um, be full sentences, right? It could be thoughts, because this prompt then will influence the outcome. So, you don't have to state it exactly. And by the way, once we get the outcome, we can ask it to update it or upgrade it or refine it. So just running it once doesn't mean that, if we miss on the inspiration, that we don't have another opportunity to enhance it and update it. Next is scope, and this really, it's the absolute kind of instructions. It could be the number of characters or the number of words. It could be if you're doing a 30-day plan, right? So it could be a daily plan for 30 days. The scope really is the instructions around what the output should look like, right? Like it's the mold of that. So we've got the context, the role, and the inspiration. Now it's like, okay, so we did want a blog post, but we want it in 2,000 characters or less, or 200 words or less, right? We want a 5 drip email over 30 days, right? That's the, and then even in the email, we want the email, to be under 500 characters. So that's what scope is really powerful, and the way that we use scope in that way. The next one is you. This is where I think the magic all comes together. And we call this is like the AskSSL.ai secret. This really transforms, and whether you use Crispy framework or not, this will transform your ultimate the way that you engage with your LLM, the way that you engage with that prompt. So if you're even if you're not using Crispy, you could still use this Ask SSL.ai secret, which is ask me the questions that you need to complete this task one at a time. And did I missed prohibitions. Somehow my P got deleted. So there's a, before we get here, so crispy, we just did Chrissy, but it's crispy. Sorry, don't know where my P slide went, but ultimately this is, the P is prohibitions. These are all the things you don't want it to do. So I don't want it to use delve. I don't want it to use foster. I don't want it to start with a prepositional phrase. I don't want to use the word ever changing, right? All the things that make it sound like AI. And even in prohibitions, you can have something as simple as uh, don't use any context or words that would be picked up by an AI detector. And that's a really good prohibition, right? Don't use words or phrases that would be flagged by an AI detector. And then we do you. So crispy is context, role, inspiration, scope, prohibitions, and you. All right, so let's start with the first one today. The first one here is blog posts, right? And this is really a very, very simple. Yes, and I did here. I'm gonna go. I see my chats are coming in with yes, we missed P. Sorry about that. Thank you for the heads up. So hello. Oh, I'm just going to say hello to folks before we go in. Hi, Susan and Scott. Scott got his book today. Phil ordered his book. Thank you. Thank you. And Frank, we did skip P and we're back to P. I have to go find what happened to prohibitions, apparently. Okay, so let's keep moving on to blog post writing. This is a very simple one, but this can really help us in lots of different ways. So I want to write a blog post on a relevant topic that engages our audience. Okay. Act as an award winning blog content creator hired to interview me and ghostwrite my content. Generate informative and engaging content that adds value to readers. Focus on a clear theme that addresses common questions or interests in my niche. Avoid overly promotional language that detracts from the post's educational value. Often in the prohibitions do not come across pitchy, and this is where I actually have a whole list of prohibitions that you guys, if you are interested, most of you are connected with me, certainly reach out on LinkedIn. I'm happy to share. It's a very long list of prohibitions, lots of words. Don't use an M dash. So there's lots of things that we can use or not use in that prohibitions, but this is a basic one. And then of course, ask me the questions you need to complete this task one at a time. Great. So I am going to go into Ask SSL and I'm going to run blog post writing. So I'm going to open up a chat that I've created for this, and I am going to launch that that blog post. So this is, and this, again, you can take this prompt and let's see. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. So what I want you to do is take a picture of this prompt. You can put it into any LLM, upload it and say text, please. Okay, here I am. I'm going to go into, I've created already kind of these predetermined messages. So I'm going to write blog post. And it says, great, let's get started. First, can you share what niche your industry or blog is in? So I'm just going to go LinkedIn for sales, right? And I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions. And you can see this becomes my interviewer. And as an award-winning blog writer, and maybe you can put in exactly what writer you like. Maybe there's a particular Pulitzer Prize winner that you love the way that they write. And so this is now going to go through, and of course it's running slightly slow while we're live because that's what technology will do. And so just like everything else, I'm going to go back. Let's try this one more time. Hold on tight. And just like any LLM, right? Like it's now going to go in. And let's see, I apologize for the delay here. Let's get started. What is your niche? Let's try this one more time. And I'll say LinkedIn for sales. You're going to put in your niche. Where do you want to get started? And then it'll thank you. And it will always give you a great compliment about what a great topic it is. So next question, what specific aspects of LinkedIn sales do you think your audience is most interested in? For example, are they looking for tips on lead generation, optimizing profiles? So I'm going to just say client referrals. Now you are going to take this and you're going to implement this this prompt and it will interview you, right? So client referrals, I'd like to know what common challenges or questions does your audience have? How to use LinkedIn to get them. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire question on this for the sake of time today. So I'm going to say, you know what I will? I'll go through and I'll say skip. Now, I don't want you to skip. I ultimately want you to go through all of this. Target audience would be revenue driven professionals. Right. And then desired length, 200 words. Okay. So provide a few strategies. I'm going to say skip. I don't want you to skip any of this because all of this is about your voice authentically, gaining ultimately your perspective on this. So once it interviews you, it's going to give you kind of a basic. This is a quick guide, and I said only 200 words. So if I wanted to do 500 words, obviously I would get I could go deeper, right? And then you can play with this. But the goal here is that you are creating a prompt that interviews you, right? So I can continue to go deeper and deeper. And then I could say 1,000 words and I could grab, bring that out. Now it's still going to be about 85 to 90%. I recommend that you copy it and you read through it and you make sure that it is in your voice. So that's blog post writing. I'm not going to walk through each of these in the LLM. I am going to talk through each of these. So go ahead and take your next picture here because we want to make sure you take your next picture from this video script. And then this is what it looks like. So I need a video script for a LinkedIn post where I share an insight. Operate as a creative writer specializing in video content hired to interview me and ghost write my content. Now, I could also say if there's a particular video expert that you love, maybe there's a YouTube person, maybe you want to show up like Mr. Beast. I don't know, right? You pick kind of the way you want to show up. And I have a, as a creative copywriter, but you can really use this any way you want. Operate, right? So now create a compelling 90-second script that effectively can challenge my audience is facing, and one tip or strategy that can help them, right? Because I want one major takeaway there. And then focus on capturing viewer attention and driving action through strong messaging. Avoid being overly pitchy or salesy. Ask me questions that you need to complete this task one at a time. Right. And so now this becomes that crispy model that creates that interview. So it says, do you always put one question at a time, or can you include context, role, and inspiration in one summary? Great question from Catherine. Yes, you can absolutely do that. This is for educational purposes. And when I actually use the prompts, I don't have context, role, inspiration typed out. So the goal is that you get all of them in. And sometimes you can even switch the order. Like you can start with role and then context. So the idea of putting it in the crispy framework is so that we can remember what needs to be included in order to have a working framework. This is one of my favorites. This is a welcome message. And this is every time I connect with someone that asked me to connect, I want to know why they connected, right? But I want to make this personal. So I want to write a welcome message to a new LinkedIn connection that refers back to the connection request note. Act as an email marketer looking to start a conversation from the new conversation around the topic they originally shared. And you are hired to interview me, ghostwrite my content. I noticed that theme over and over and over again. This should be casual and compelling. Focus on clear, concise note that encourages conversations. Do not overcomplicate it. Don't use emojis or hashtags, and don't show off. Ask me questions that you need to complete this task one at a time. That's the magic phrase as we go through this. This is one of my absolute favorites, and I may run this. So if you want to take a picture of this or a screenshot, and then you can upload it to your LLM and say, text please, right? As we go through this, I'm going to actually share, I'm going to go find an article as we're talking through this. But ultimately, we want to find a blog post or some kind of content that's not necessarily our original content, but content that we know our audience is going to enjoy. Right. So I'm going to just go out, and because I'm a big fan of HubSpot content, I'm going to pull in a piece of HubSpot content, and I'm going to click over, and I'm going to go into my chats, and I set up a chat for each of these, but I recognize running them all does not necessarily make sense. So if I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go post text for curated content, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my prompt for today, which is now for curated content. And I run that prompt, and ultimately it's going to say, can I have the URL to that post? Or I could go in, let's see, insights or takeaway. I can jump in. I do recommend that we read the content. And the reason we ask this question, where I'm prompting it to ask me, is because I don't necessarily want you to do what I'm about to do, which is just basically share the content. I want you to read it. I want you to appreciate. I just copied it. And again, I'm going to go through skip, but this is all meant to get your voice, right? We can easily go ahead and just say, hey, give me a recap for LinkedIn, for a post. But ultimately, when it gives you the output after you've answered these questions. Um, Based on these questions, it's going to be in your voice, which we're clearly not going to see my voice because I skipped a bunch of these things. But again, this is designed, this is, so exploring the power of AI. And now we have the whole, you know, and in this case, I would say I recently came across an insightful article. Now, normally I would say no emojis. I could say no emojis, and give me the URL with no hyperlink. And I thought that this might have been in there. I usually have that. That way, when I copy it, I don't have to, and I put it into LinkedIn. Yep, so it'll grab the full article there. So this is a perfect opportunity to go ahead. I can look at this. Maybe it's 85, 90% there. I copy it and I go into LinkedIn. And by having the read the full article here, it's going to link right directly back to that article. And that's simply using this text. I don't have in here. So unfortunately, I don't have in here that one line. So I'm going to say add that one line, which ultimately is give me the URL with no hyperlink. That way, when you copy this, you don't have to go back and copy it. If you look here, it hyperlinked it here. I don't want it hyperlinked because when I copy and paste this into LinkedIn or any other social media platform, it won't carry that link over. When you say don't hyperlink, it will. So it just makes it that much easier. And the last one that we're going to talk about as we're coming up on time here is create a poll. This is a great prompt. Go ahead and take your screenshot if you'd like, if you're looking to create a poll. Now, this is built with 4 questions. Some people now have, wait, I'm sorry. Yep. Some people now have 5 options. I don't yet. If that's the case and you do this and you have all 5 options, go ahead and add, make this 5 instead of 4 options. And then you can just update this accordingly. But this is going to give you a really great prompt for starting a poll on LinkedIn. So we went through a lot today. I would love to hear in chat some of the takeaways, some of the things that you might have learned, or some of the things that you're going to use. We did have well over 40 people between LinkedIn and YouTube today, which was really fun. We're thrilled to have you. And this will also be on replay. I'm really hoping that you guys got some great value from it. If you found value and you want to learn more about the crispy methodology, our best-selling book, I can't believe I get to say that, it's so exciting, is available, promptwritingmadeeasy.com, or you can scan the QR code. And also that comes with a webinar. And it also comes with one time a month, third Thursday of every month. You'll be invited to our coaching where my co-authors, Bob Woods and Stan Robinson, and I will be there to help answer any of your AI or LinkedIn questions. So thank you. Can we get the book on Kindle? Not yet, but you can eventually. But reach out to me and I'll see if I can help you there. Great information. Thank you, Amy. This is the first I'm hearing of the crispy model. Very relevant and simplifies the technology. I'll look into the book. Thank you, Catherine. Amazing stuff in a short period of time. Thank you. I will share the replay link with my colleagues. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. I have so much enjoyed doing this with you guys. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your success with the crispy framework. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Bob Wood, Stan Robinson, or myself, Bryn Tillman. Such a pleasure. Thanks so much.